right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Civil Engineering Spotlight session. I'll introduce myself first. So, my name's Catherine, and I'm the Civil Engineering Student Ambassador. I just finished my third year. I'm from Markham. This past year, I was also the vice president of our civil engineering club, the Civil Engineers of Lausanne. Uh, for a year, I was a peer mentor for first year engineering students. Last summer, I did a 4-month research co-op on embodied carbon emissions, and I currently just started another co-op. So, today we're going to do a brief program overview, some highlights of the program, go over co-op and extra support, some frequently asked questions, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to do it during the live Q&A, or if you have any questions during this spotlight session, please put them in the Q&A section or box, and I will get to them at the end. So, the program overview, what is civil engineering? So, when people think about civil engineering, they usually think about concrete, bridges, buildings, but it's a lot more than that, and a lot of people don't realize this. So, civil engineering has 6 different subdisciplines, which are structural, which is your bridges and buildings, geotechnical, which is your foundations of the building, soil, and everything that goes underground. Hydrotechnical, which are your water resources, so clean water and wastewater. Transportation, which are your roads. Environmental, and our newest one, building science, which looks at the materials of buildings. And so civil engineering has a lot of hands-on lab work where we apply the theory that we learn in our lectures to real-life scenarios in the lab. And civil engineering is all around us, from the bridges we take and the roads to our water systems and buildings. And when you graduate, you can specialize in any of the subdisciplines. So you can become a structural engineer, a transportation engineer, or you could do construction or project management, be an environmental regulator, a transportation planner, natural resource developer. The possibilities are really endless, and you'll see this a little bit later on. And so, some of the highlights of our program. So for first year, we have a general first year, and it has a very strong foundation to the core of what we're going to be learning in future civil engineering courses. Um, and you get the opportunity to look at a lot of disciplines throughout your first year before actually choosing and specializing in your second year. So some of the courses that relate to civil engineering that you'll take in first year are engineering mechanics, which is very similar to physics, calculus 2. There is a calculus 1, and it's very similar to high school calculus, but calculus 2 builds on that and gives you more depth. Linear algebra, which should be mostly new content, but it's very important to civil engineering because you revisit it later on. There's the engineering design principles, which is essential to any engineer, where you learn the engineering design process, and the Earth environment, which is all about the atmosphere, geology, and of course, the environment. And then you can also upgrade and customize your program. So, like I said, when you go into first year, you're in a general engineering, but once you're done your first year, you can enhance your degree by adding a specialization, certificates, or other program options. So, the specialization is for us, it would be civil, but the other ones that we offer are computer, electrical, mechanical, mechatronics, software, and space engineering. And you can also do an international development studies dual degree, where you would have your 60 engineering program core credits, which are credits in courses that all engineering majors have to take, your 77 declared program credits, which are your civil courses, your 12 complementary studies credits, and then 33 international development studies credits. And with this, you could take courses with culture, migration, environment, gender, or political economy. It will turn your 4-year program into a 5-year program, and you'll have a total of 182 credits instead of 150. But along with your general engineering BEng, you will also get a Bachelor of Arts. Another thing you can do is do the BEST certificate, where you take a few business and law classes, and you can develop skills in business, innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And it's very similar to a minor in business. Um, and then some of our civil engineering highlights. Some of the courses I listed here in the next few slides, I can show you a little more because I put pictures on those. But mechanics of materials is where you learn about material properties and what happens to them when they're under stress and strain. Geological processes is all about the properties of minerals, rocks, natural disasters, and landforms. Then there's the engineering design project, where you find a solution to a design problem and present all your results at the end of the course. There's hydraulics, which explores fluid properties, and you find out the different behaviors and movement of liquids. And then we have transportation engineering, which you learn about road design and traffic flow and traffic safety. So in your second, third, and fourth year, a lot of the courses relate to all of the civil engineering subdisciplines that I talked about, and you get to explore all of them to find out which one you like. And so with this, we also gain a lot of technical skills. So we learn a bunch of softwares like AutoCAD, Revit, SolidWorks, and Civil 3D modeling. We do a lot of field and lab data collection to determine material properties and test their strengths. And because there's a lot of standards in the world, you learn how to apply all of them into your work and into your courses. So, some of the courses that I've taken, the first two photos are from a soil lab where we got to test the materials of them, so the plasticity and how much strength they can take. The third photo there is the geological processes course, where we got to identify and classify different kinds of rocks and see all of their properties. Here's a few more. These ones were all from a materials course. So the first one, we got to test the strength of steel by actually like pulling on it with a machine. And then we made concrete, where we made them into cylinders, you make them into beams, and you get to test them. So those are just a few of our courses where you really get to be in the lab and apply what you learn in class, in practice. So now we can go on to co-op and some extra support. Co-op is optional and you can do it after completing your second year. And to apply for this, you have to meet the GPA requirements, uh, do all of your prerequisites, so everything in second year. And you also have to attend 3 sessions, which is a general information session, resume fundamentals, and interview prep. And then you have to meet the application deadline, of course. And so for civil engineering, the average salary is about $25.58 per hour for a co-op, and this was based on last year's metrics. We also have a lot of um, resources available. So our co-op portal, where York actually has connections with different companies, and they will help you find a co-op, resume writing and interview prep, separate sessions to help with that. And we generally recommend co-op because you get a lot of hands-on lab work in the field and around professionals, and you'll learn so much from it. We have so many companies that hire their co-ops after graduation, and some of our employers are Aecon, Metrolinx, Stantec, WSP, Ellis Don, and a lot more. Some other opportunities that you can get during your degree are research. So you can do research working under professors. We have some research funding awards like the Undergraduate Student Research Award, and LURA, which is the Lassonde Undergraduate Research Award. They're both worth around $10,000 for 16 weeks or 4 months of work during the summer. And you can do them in one of our facilities, like our highway lab, which is where I said we kind of make all the concrete and test different materials. There's also so many extracurricular opportunities, so you'll never get bored. Some of the clubs that you can join, just to name a few, there's so so many different clubs within York, but the ones relating to engineering are the Civil Engineers of Lausanne club that I talked about earlier, the Lausanne Engineering Society, Women in Science and Engineering, and there's a bunch more, but I can only fit so many things on a slide. We also have design team clubs. So we have a concrete toboggan one, steel bridge, concrete canoe, and they all build a structure and race them against other universities. And then we have events and competitions always happening. So bridge building, concrete bowling with some of them, and a lot of club social events. So there's a lot going on, and I would definitely recommend getting involved to get closer to the community, to meet people, and to learn a lot more about your major outside of class. You can also do work study, where you do your courses, but also you can work on the side. So we have general on-campus work studies, which could be clerical, administrative, or any technical roles. We have research at York, where you again work under a professor and you do research with them. Then we have leadership engagement and ambassadorship program where you can get roles as leaders, recruitment ambassadors, peer educators, or mentors. And you can meet a lot of your fellow engineering students to develop your skills by getting involved. So, some of our student support and resources that we offer are peer-assisted study sessions, which are free tutors and study groups, which are mostly for first-year courses. And so, if you need any help with those, then you can go to them and they'll go over questions and help you prepare for your exams or go over anything that you don't know. We also have our student accessibility services, which help have assistance with any disabilities and accommodations that you may need. Now, um, before I get into the frequently asked questions, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to either put it in the chat or in the Q&A box, and I'd be happy to answer any of them about civil engineering, about student life, about really anything. If not, I'll go to the frequently asked questions. Will you think of any questions that you may have for me? So, we'll just start. What made me choose Lausanne in my program? For me, Lausanne is one of the newest engineering schools in Canada. And so we have all the newest labs, technologies, buildings, and it also means that our community is a lot smaller than a lot of the other universities. And so you get so many more opportunities to be involved, and you get like an example I give all the time is because a community is a lot smaller, it's so much easier to just go up to your prof after class and ask any questions. And it's easier to get to know people and build those connections and friendships. I also live a commutable distance from school, and so for me, it was helpful to save money and live at home. And then I chose civil engineering because I like the idea of making a physical difference in the world and building things that you can actually see and use. And so, kind of like I talked about, we have so many hands-on projects, so many specialties, and a stable career is always a bonus. I don't think civil engineers are going anywhere anytime soon. And so, those are definitely reasons that you should choose civil. Um, I don't see any questions right now, so I'll go on to the next frequently asked one. How can I tell if this program is the right fit for me? So, I think that civil engineering is a very, very broad program because it encompasses so many different subdisciplines. And kind of as you saw, well, for me, I, for one, I'm a very indecisive person. And so it just captured like all of my interests into one. I found every single part of it cool, but it also gives you the opportunity to explore different parts of civil engineering. Like the transportation aspect or structural or the water resources. There's just so many different things that we do. And they all will make a difference or an impact on the world. And if this kind of sounds like something you're interested in, then civil engineering might be right for you. Um, what has been a highlight of my time at Lausanne so far? Um, well, I would say that my favorite part has been meeting new people and building connections because there's a good amount of group projects that you do in your labs and design projects and extracurriculars, and you get so many opportunities to meet different people and build those lasting friendships. And also, another highlight of me have definitely been the labs. Like I keep saying this, but you get so much experience and you get to do so many things in your courses. Like you're not just in your lecture all the time, you're actually in the lab. And so with that, like some of the labs that we did, you get to see how fluids behave, you get to learn softwares, and not only do you have fun in labs, it's teaching you what you need for the industry. Um, so I see a question. Do you offer support in applying for student permit domestic? For student permit, um, could you specify your question a little bit? What do you mean by student permit? And then maybe I can help answer a little bit better. Also, if anyone else has questions, feel free to ask. Uh, I've been through first year. I just finished my third year, so I feel like if you have any questions, I can help. Um, I think in terms of study permits, most domestic students will apply through OUAC. Um, but if you need anything specific to um, admissions and helping with that, um, here, I'll just through here. There's an email, ask@lasanschool.com. I'm not 100% sure about support, but if you email them, they do have an influx of emails right now, but I am 100% sure they will be able to uh, specifically provide the resource that you're looking for. I don't have it on me right now, and so yeah, if you do that, then maybe they can help. Um, I'll just go through these last couple of questions. Have another one. With subdisciplines of civil, do I need to specialize again, or will you be able to do any of them with one degree? That's an amazing question. You graduate with a civil engineering degree, and so you are able to do any of the subdisciplines because you get experience in all of them. It's when you go into the workforce that you get to really choose what you want to do. But yeah, that's also one of the reasons why I love civil engineering because you graduate with the broad degree. And for example, if you go into like structural engineering and you're not liking it, you can switch to become a transportation engineer or really whatever you want because you have the degree and you have the experience and the knowledge to do any of them. So yeah, that's one of the ones that I I have for it. I also got another question. What are the requirements to do co-op? So for co-op, you need to meet the GPA requirements. It's all on our co-op page, you need to complete your prerequisites, which is basically just completing all your courses you need to complete in second year. And you need to do 3 sessions, like attend 3 information sessions. One of them is general co-op information, uh, resume fundamentals, and interview prep. You just attend it for attendance, and once you do that, you apply, and then you'll hear back from them, and you can do co-op. And then I guess I can talk a little bit more about co-op. We have our co-op. You have to do it in 2 terms and minimum 12 months total to 20 months. And so your first term, if you have like 4 months, then your next term can be anywhere from 8 months to 16 months, if that makes sense. Um, Hopefully I answered your questions. I'll just go on to this last frequently asked questions. If you have more, please ask. It's better to ask now than just keep wondering. Um, but here's this one. Do you have any advice for someone entering your program or in university in general? Um, I think the biggest piece of advice that I give to a lot of people is to not overwhelm yourself. I know I talked a lot about all the different ways that you can be involved in the community, as well as the courses that you'll take. And it's a lot. You'll be doing lectures, labs, tutorials on top of assignments, studying for your exams, and if you do any extracurriculars at the same time. And so I would say, like, time management is a skill that you will definitely need. And a little tip that I would do is take summer school if you can to lessen your course load throughout the normal year. And find a learning style that works for you because everyone is different and everyone learns differently. And some people just listening to a lecture might not work the same as you actually doing practice problems or finding someone else that explains it better. So try different ways to figure out how you learn best and then stick to that way. Um, Another, I guess, tip that I have is get as much experience as you can throughout your university degree. So through co-op, making connections at job fairs, in the industry, just learn as much as you can and take all the opportunities that you get because that's where you get the experience and you can put that experience on your resume to get a job. Um, and so, like, with that, I would say, like, try to get involved, join clubs or design teams, because you don't, you not only get experience, but you get to meet a lot of like-minded peers and you can make friends and you can learn from a lot of upper years. Um, yeah, that's a few pieces of advice that I have. Um, If there's no other questions, of course, you can stay behind if you have anything specific, or anything else. But we do host weekly Lassonde tours, so if you actually wanted to look at the labs and our buildings, then you can do that. We have other program spotlight sessions, so this one was for civil engineering. If you're interested in any of the other programs, I definitely recommend going to theirs. There are Ask Me Anything drop-in sessions. There's a Lassonde podcast, and you can also join our Discord where if you also have any question at all, you can go there and other students or other ambassadors like me, we can answer your questions. And so the links to all of this is in that QR code. Um, at the top, if you scan that, it'll just bring you to a page with the links for all of this. And if you have any specific questions that you need someone for, then there's the email ask@lassondeschool.com, and they will answer any of those questions that maybe I can't answer or you're looking for a really specific answer. Um, if that's it, Thank you everyone for joining. You can go to this link to see any of our future events. Again, the email is right there if you have anything else. Um, and if I do see other questions, so I will answer them. Um, let me go back to the slide. Okay, so one of them I see is it possible to go into a career of architecture or architectural engineering through a civil engineering degree, or would it be a different degree? I know other institutions offer an architectural engineering degree. I believe there is a difference, but with a civil engineering degree, it's very versatile. So, you can definitely get into the architecture space if that's what you're looking for. Like my 4 month co-op that I did last summer, it was at an architecture firm. And so, you get to meet a lot of the different people, and it's not directly related to your major, but they're all interconnected. And so, if that's the route that you want to do, I think it is possible. But I also think you should do research into different companies and where you want to go with your career. And if you want to do that engineering or civil engineering or architectural engineering or just architecture, and really look at the difference between all of them and see which one suits your interests the best and what will give you the best um like pathways for your career, if that makes sense. And then I got another offer or I got another question offer and paid accept done this one. Um Paid acceptance fee and due to start in fall intake. However, I'd like to request a deferral. Please advise if this would affect my admission status or fees. Um, I think you can do a deferral. I'm not 100% sure if it will affect your admission status. Um, but I know you definitely can, and I would, if you haven't already, definitely request a referral. And it's way better to do it a lot earlier so that they have room for that. Because they have a certain amount of people that they can intake in the winter term. And so I would definitely recommend emailing about that and seeing the next steps that you would need to take. Um, Yeah, thank you so much for joining, everyone. Again, like if you have any other questions, please ask. If not, like you're free to go. I'll go back to this page if you want to join our Discord or any of our communities or go on a tour. Yeah.